One day, Tanya stopped responding to messages. I didn't think much of it at first. My sister could have been busy with anything. She was an adult, independent, and free. But to our mother, we were always children, so she immediately sounded the alarm. "I'm sure everything is fine," I insisted. "It's the weekend. She's probably out with friends, or maybe a guy." Tanya had a habit of disappearing before. Usually, she'd let her phone die and just forget about it. Mom would panic, and I, like a fool, would drive back and forth to check on her. So, my first step was to message her friends. But none of them had seen her for days. Only one said, "I think she was going on a date with some guy the day before yesterday. I don't know who he is." Tanya always keeps her suitors a secret. Now I was worried too. It turned out my sister went somewhere with an unknown man on Friday after work and hadn't been seen since. I rushed to the bus and was banging on her door within half an hour. No one opened. There were no sounds from the apartment. I returned home with a sickening gut feeling. I barely found the strength to tell Mom that Tanya was nowhere to be found. We went to file a missing persons report immediately. The police tried to calm us down, saying not much time had passed, but my mother was sobbing. "I feel it. I feel that something has happened." She was right. I remember the ill-fated call a few days later. I remember my mother turning pale, throwing her phone against the wall, sitting on the floor, and screaming. I understood everything instantly. My sister was dead. The identification at the morgue was a nightmare. I hoped it would be a stranger, but then the pathologist uncovered her face, and I saw the earrings our mother had given her. She lay there motionless, gray, and breathless. I managed a weak nod, a lump in my throat preventing me from speaking. "How did she die?" I eventually asked. The doctor told me the investigator would explain. It wasn't until I reached the station that I understood the horror. Tanya had been brutally butchered with a knife. Her stomach was ripped open, and her internal organs had been scattered, some dragged away by stray dogs. The crime scene photos were shocking. Months passed. Tanya was buried. I tried to support my mother, who was devastated. The police had no leads, no clues, no witnesses. I couldn't let it go. I decided to investigate myself. I had one suspect, Akeem, an ex-boyfriend who used to harass and threaten her. I went to his place, and we ended up fighting. But it turned out he had an ironclad alibi. He had been in another city visiting his father. I was back at square one. 4 days later, I went to the site where she was found. As it got dark, I saw a strange figure lurking around a corner. The man wore a knitted wool mask with colorful embroidery, red thread for the mouth, blue around the eyes, and brown yarn for hair. Despite the 30-degree summer heat, he was wearing this thick mask. He looked like a local eccentric, and at the time, I didn't connect him to the murders. Then, a local news channel reported a series of 7 brutal killings. All the victims were eviscerated in the same way. The killers seemed to be searching for something inside the bodies. I eventually met a girl named Vera at the cemetery. Her sister had been the latest victim. We started spending time together, bonded by our shared grief. One evening, as I was walking Vera home near the park, I saw him again, the man in the wool mask. I chased him into the trees. He slashed my thigh with a knife, but I managed to disarm him, and, in the struggle, the knife plunged into his stomach. What happened next haunts my nightmares. Instead of recoiling, the man grabbed his own wound and began tearing it wider with his hands. As his organs spilled out, he croaked, "Threads, do you see? I'm knitted too. Everything in the world is made of threads." He collapsed and died. When I pulled off his mask, I saw it wasn't a mask at all. It was a horrific imitation of a face stretched over a skull, with translucent skin, scars, and white eyes. Later, the investigation revealed his tragic backstory. He was born into a broken family with severe deformities. His mother hid him away, and his grandmother knitted him masks so he wouldn't be ashamed of his face. He grew up in total isolation, hiding from his abusive father. He became obsessed with threads, spiderwebs, wires, and the yarn his grandmother used. His first victim was his father. When the old man finally saw him and screamed in terror, the son stabbed him. Upon seeing his father's insides, the boy concluded that humans were knitted from wet, thick threads. When he ran out of food, he began roaming the city at night, killing strangers simply because he wanted to look inside them to see if they, too, were made of threads.